Hey everybody, welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
We're here at Zapp Comics in Wayne, New Jersey, although I think there's 2 locations of this great store.
Yes.
But my favorite comic book store, I don't think I'm offending anybody by saying that, but it's one of my favorite comic book stores, certainly the most favorite comic book store in the tri-state area. I think that's fair to say.
Yes.
I mean, look at the selection.
Right, oh no,
This
it's
is
incredible.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about dystopian Spider-Man What If comics. The first of which is What If the Amazing Spider-Man had not married Mary Jane? The second one is What If Spider-Man's parents destroyed his family? Which is hilariously specific. And What If starring Spider-Man? That's what it's called.
This one's too specific. That one's not specific enough.
Yeah.
I guess this one's just right.
Starring Spider-Man, Arachnomorphosis.
Thank you. It is technically called Arachnomorphosis. Or something like that. It's
Morphosis. I had to read it a lot to make sure I got it right.
Morphosis from you guys.
Morphosis.
Like
Getting good
100%
infosys here. By the way, this is during a time when What If was like, okay, so drop the names of what the show is or what the book is called. We're just gonna take a character and that'll be it. And that's why they buy it. Like I have another one from this era where it's like, what if the Incredible Hulk? And it just looks like a big alien. And I'm like, what? And they dropped that premise very shortly thereafter.
Like,
Yeah, because it's confusing.
It is
What if
completely-
the Incredible Hulk?
What if?
What if?
Like, well, we know what if.
Like,
He's been around for like 50 years. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, I didn't know where I was going.
All right, well,
Aren't you intrigued by what if? Isn't that enough?
right? I guess Ben can tell us about what if Spider-Man had not married Mary Jane.
Yay.
We live in a universe. What a weird world we would live in if that were the
Yes.
case. Thankfully, we don't.
I can't imagine a world like that.
Where Spider-Man did not marry Mary Jane.
I can't imagine it.
I guess we'll all have to sit here and wonder what would happen.
What
We've
if?
We've never had that.
We've never
Spider-Man
seen
has
that.
always been married.
Yes.
Always will be married.
Precisely.
And fie on anyone who says otherwise.
This is true. A good use of phi. So please,
You get a gold star for this issue, or for this episode.
Woohoo, fie.
Yeah.
So this is What If the Amazing Spider-Man had not married Mary Jane. This is written by Danny Fingeroff, art by Jim Valentino. I'm very happy I got this one because I think it's the best art in all of them.
hey.
And inked by Chris Ivey.
That's awesome, by the way. Danny Fingeroth was the editor of Spider-Man around that time, and Jim Valentino created the Shadowhawk.
Yeah, he sure did. I have a signed issue #1.
Yeah, it goes well with the other 19 copies we have.
So, we start off this book with Mary Jane in a wedding gown, which is designed by Willie Smith.
Yeah, that was a big deal. It's a real wedding dress designer designed her gown, so they have to give them credit.
I bet every
because-
time they use it, they have to
Yeah,
give it
that's
credit.
the wedding gown. That's her wedding gown.
Yeah, but how many wedding gowns do you think Jim Valentino has designed over the years? I'm willing to bet a lot. He never gets any credit.
I don't think any.
Moving on. The Watcher goes into this big background of like Spider-Man's history of like, oh, well, you have to understand that Spider-Man was in love with a woman named
Yeah,
Gwen
we get it,
Stacy.
Uatu, Jesus.
Oh, but then he moved on and found love with a woman named Mary Jane Watson.
No, Jesus, Uatu.
But you have to understand that they broke up and he was dating a woman named Felicia Hardy,
Yeah,
who
we
is the
remember,
Black
we
Cat.
read the book.
Yeah, literally the Watcher's like, hi, is this your first Spider-Man comic
Ever?
Then hold on to your hat.
I don't know why you picked this
Why
up
would you
first.
do that?
So, the main crux of this is that there is apparently a robot called the Spider Slayer robot, which attacked Mary Jane. And the premise is that 1 second longer waited is not English that you would ever say. If Spider-Man waited 1 second longer to save Mary Jane from the Spider Slayer robot,
You keep saying robot?
robot, not
Say robot.
not robot,
He's not a 30s prospector.
I keep hearing robot. I'm like,
we gotta get some of them robots.
Do
I don't want any of those.
So 1 second longer, and she is almost killed by this thing, and she's in the hospital, and he is freaking out. And they agree to be married, but he's so stricken with how close she came to death that apparently the entire time they're planning the wedding, sure, that's fine. And then right at the altar, he just says, you know what? I can't do it. I know we've been planning this for months, and I saved you a long time ago.
Yeah.
But now that I'm up here, I can't do it because what might happen if we're married?
Yep. So then he absconds with her.
No,
Yeah,
not even.
No, he chases after her,
He
and
says,
then
he runs after her.
Can I talk to you for a minute over here?
yeah.
And then
All their friends and family are like, "Where are
They
they
just
going?"
run away, yeah.
they run away, and then he has her like strapped to his back, and he just climbs up a building while he's in his tuxedo and she's in a wedding dress.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wait till they're away from everyone.
They hid. They hid-
Everyone in
that-
New York.
In New York City.
All
Yes.
of them. No one's looking. He knows.
Least of all, everyone in
Spider
attendance
sense.
of the wedding.
Spider sense.
Well, this is just a guy who's imitating Spider-Man. This can't be Spider-Man. He's not wearing his suit.
This is a performance art.
Yeah. So, anyway,
So,
he explains to her the beginning
like,
of the book.
I can't do it. Like, every single time that you're out there in the world, you might be attacked
It's
because...
the premise from the movie.
Yeah,
Like, it's
the whole
just,
thing.
I can't be with you.
And she's like, I understand, but I'm not going to beg you to take me back. She's like, goodbye. And she just
I love
leaves.
that image, by the way. The panel of her running away in her wedding dress is actually really cool. It's really key.
Especially
And-
next to a guy in a Spider-Man shirt. Like, she's just like, I can't escape him.
I've had this book for 20 years. I've never seen that guy before.
Really?
That was the first thing.
I'm always so captivated by the beauty and sadness of Mary Jane's escape. But
Oh.
yeah, in any case, so the resulting breakup makes Spider-Man into a lunatic, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's like, I know I did the right thing, but how come it feels like I just tore off my right arm? Oh, so
So
emo.
deep, and then he like.
And he's wearing his black suit at the time, so like,
And then he goes into a dance number. And
Yeah.
yeah, 2, 3, 4, kick and punch and da-da-da-da. Yeah, he's just going after every villain on the street that he can because he's just so angry about it. And he teams up with Silver Sable and the Wild Pack.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
we read an issue.
we did a
of.
full issue
Yeah.
on this show,
Yes.
Silver Sable and the Wild Pack, #1, with a beautiful
And he's in it.
embossed cover, and Spider-Man shows up.
Yeah.
Well, because Spider-Man
I was
is
like, I have context.
occasionally subcontracted by Silver Sable to do jobs because he's a really great infiltrator and whatnot.
Oh, she knows.
Yeah. This is the first, by the way, this is part 1 of 2. This is the first time in What If history they did a 2-part story, and we will do part 2
Okay.
in a future episode.
We will?
Oh yeah, not now, but like
Oh.
someday.
I mean, we can't.
well,
we don't have it.
because this
They
is the
might.
sad. This is the sad part. But then there's part 2, and that'll go into the utopian episode of Spider-Man What If Comics if we ever do that episode.
I don't think that exists.
There are. I have them.
All right.
No, I wouldn't have
I
picked
have to
this
take your
theme
word
if
for
I
it.
wouldn't have another one.
So, Silver Sable has a job, and Spider-Man is ready to just kick a lot of butt. He even says, here's the plan, we go in and we kick butt. He says it right there.
It's a good plan.
And she's like, you are being reckless. Like, I love your enthusiasm, but we have to have a plan. So,
Enthusiasm.
calm the heck down. And he's like, all right, I'll try
Butt
and
kicking
chill
is
out.
what we do. I will grant you that.
Yes, but I'm just saying.
We never see what happens. Apparently the plan goes well.
And it all works out for everybody.
Who would want to see that anyway?
I know, in a Spider-Man book, them taking down, like, villains,
Like terrorists or whatever. it's supposed to-
Let's instead key in on Peter Parker visiting his aunt for the first time since the breakup.
yeah. It's a terrible thing, but I understand you must have had a good reason because you're my nephew. Mm-hmm. But I hope one day you'll find someone that you can love. He did, obviously.
Yeah, but like stay with and not
Yeah,
ruin.
like maybe you could just not bail. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because like she's like, clearly you can't take care of yourself.
Oh, she says, like, I
you're
hope one
gonna
day you'll
need-
settle down with somebody who can take care of you because I'm going to be dead one day. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Is that, first
You're
of all,
the Iron Horse of this universe.
yeah, you will never die.
Yeah.
Mephisto himself will come from hell and rescue you.
And so he's like, Aunt May, you worry too much. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
We're Parkers,
Shut up,
it'll be
Aunt
fine."
May.
Yeah.
No, he's very nice.
So then Peter's like, but I'm still lonely. So what's the only thing that I can do?
Wait a minute. Rebound. Yes.
Oh. He's like, all right, Gwen's dead.
Mary Jane and I broke up with, so what other girl have I dated? Betty Brant,
the Human
she's
Torch
married
is
to
a
Ned
bore.
Leeds. Human Torch is also a dude. So I guess I'll call,
Oh, maybe he knows someone.
yeah, no.
No.
I'll call my crazy ex-girlfriend, Black Cat.
Felicia Hardy.
He doesn't call her, he writes her a
writes
letter.
her a letter.
I
And
would
then
give
2
anything
weeks-
to
2
see that
weeks
letter,
go
by the
by.
way. Dear
Well,
my dearest Felicia.
Tears are all falling on it. The ink's all
I
smudged.
dumped my girlfriend at the altar,
Oh, my fiance.
my fiance, and
he doesn't just
so
write her
maybe,
a letter. He's like, I'll leave it at her last known address, and if she finds it, then it's fate.
Yeah, of
And
course.
that makes it okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, if the universe says that, not like the universe told me to get married to Mary Jane.
No.
No, this is okay. What I'm
So-
doing is fine.
Yeah.
We've got this fantastic image that I'm going to show you guys of Black Cat showing up, and she says, "Face it, Tagger,
You just hit the jack.
you just hit the jackpot."
It's the same image as the Mary Jane reveal, but it's Black Cat, so it's
Yeah.
like gross and terrible.
All right, I love that
But
she
if she
shows
calls
up.
him Tiger, that's a little weird.
She shows up to his apartment, to Peter Parker's apartment.
She did that all the
In
time,
her
by the way.
costume.
When they used to go out, like she had no regard for his Peter
right,
Parker
that's
persona.
fair.
Here's the thing. I assume this is all she wears. Like she goes to the store in this.
Yeah, she's not like quite like Catwoman, where everybody knows who she is, so she can kind of just like be Catwoman all the time. Felicia Hardy used to have a secret identity, but I think they kind of screwed that up over time.
Well, you see most of her face.
Well, plus, like, what's it called? Peter's landlady knows who she is too.
When I wear my glasses, I take them off. I'm a totally different person. It's Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Superman. It's the same thing with her.
Right.
And she has a wig.
It's not a wig.
She has no wig.
In the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, it was a wig.
All right. That's just her hair?
That's just her hair.
That mask's not doing anything then. You see a chick walking around with like 9 feet of white hair, you're like, that's just black
Oh,
cat.
no. When she and Peter eventually break up and then Peter settles down with Mary Jane, Flash
Whoa,
Thompson.
spoilers!
Flash Thompson swoops in and he gets Peter's sloppy seconds, and so they go out and everyone's like, "Hey, Black Cat!" Like everybody knows.
Okay.
And Flash.
My name is Felicia!
she digs it. Anyway, so they hook up.
Anyway, they're totally into this. And he's like, yeah, this will be fine because, like, I couldn't be with Mary Jane because she was a civilian. But if I'm with another superhero, because she's not, she's a villain.
No, she's...
Peter.
She walks the line.
She and he, like working together, she kind of like, she
what's his name?
reformed
Johnny
quite a
Cash.
bit. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, except there's always a screw loose with Felicia.
Well, that's implicit.
And she can't bring you to tears with a song.
No.
So, you know.
I mean, not unless
I never
it's
heard her
just really
sing,
bad
so I
rendition.
don't know.
Well, she's a comic, so...
So
She was voiced by Jennifer Hale, by the way.
Oh, she's great.
they go and start busting up crime together.
Yeah.
And I really like them together, by the way, and him in the black suit and her in the black and white suit. Like
It works.
It kind of works.
It's black and white. It's perfect.
Yeah, it kind of really works like together. I
Yeah.
dig it, aesthetically speaking, of course. She's terrible for him, but
But like, if you're in a dark alley and you just see like a whole lot of white hair and a giant white spider,
you
coming
know
for
you're
you,
screwed.
my pants are filled.
Yes, exactly.
I know. It's terrible.
This is like, I'm glad
This is
you
what
guys are
happens.
here.
It's
This
nice
stuff
to
usually
hear
gets
it.
cut out.
Yeah.
You guys are here
No,
for
I
it.
usually I never know what the audience is going to react to. So like
just
that's a
kinda-
good. I'm like, okay, I should cut that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, no.
In my line of work, a groan is as good as a laugh.
You're what?
What?
What? That's 3 whats. I'm gonna move on with the story. So they're taking out some people that just robbed a bank, like full of money.
Well, because banks are often filled with money.
Yeah.
Because it's a bank.
Yeah.
But their sacks are also filled with cash. And Spider-Man makes a joke like, you should have gotten away with credit cards.
It doesn't make any
makes
sense.
sense.
Terrible writing. Anyway. He webs them up, and then she goes after one guy specifically and, like, claws him. Which we never see any injuries on him, but, like, apparently it's too much for Spider-Man. He's like, whoa, whoa, I caught them. Calm down. We gotta leave them to the police now. We're not roughing them up.
Yeah.
And the villain calls after him. He's like, lots of luck, Spider-Man. If she's your woman, you're gonna need it.
I just love how somebody's giving. I know you kicked my ass and webbed me up for the police, but like, listen, that lady's got a couple screw looses. You might want to see a therapist to work that out. Like, thanks for the help, random hood.
I'm just saying, if she did that to me, I can't even imagine what she's gonna do to you. You forget the milk one night. Whoo!
Because she's a cat, you know, it's a theme.
He left a half hour ago.
I'm working on my stand-up.
Don't quit your day job.
Which is thievery.
Yeah, so, and you're bad at that too. Just, no.
Yeah.
So he berates her a little bit for being too vicious, but then the book is like, but it's a good thing she is vicious because one time Kraven the Hunter came out and shot him with a rifle and buried him in the ground.
Yeah, and I love it, by the way. Like, Fingeroth was the editor of Spider-Man during that time, so like he knows all these stories. So he's like,
Yeah.
ooh, and what would happen if Mary Jane wasn't in the picture, but Felicia was during this seminal Spider-Man story? So Kraven's Last Hunt. Let's see the cracked mirror Felicia Hardy version of that.
So then Kraven's standing over the grave in the Spider-Man suit.
Yep.
Which is like, you look like you're a totally sane person doing this, by the way.
He doesn't look. He looks insane every time he does anything because of his usual.
I'm
Kraven.
just
He actually
saying-
looks better normal than
No,
normal.
this is like,
This
like,
is-
he's like, I'm doing all the right things. It's like, just, could you step back for like 1 second?
Just take a look at what you're doing here,
Yeah.
man.
This is the crazy part about this.
Eventually he
is that
does, and then shoots himself.
He obviously had to bury Spider-Man in his Spider-Man suit
Yeah.
while wearing a different Spider-Man
He made
suit.
they're easy to get for some reason.
And she's just in the background behind a gravestone watching.
Well, she
being
could
like,
have just gotten here.
which one is which? I can't tell.
I think-
Is Spider-Man this giant, massive dude in a suit? Or is he kind of the skinny guy that I know who he is?
Maybe she was like, let's just see how this works out.
Right.
Okay, not well.
Yeah, because she loves Spider-Man. She doesn't have much of a patience for Peter Parker, so maybe this new Spider-Man will work out for
Oh,
her.
no, he took off the mask. Gotta attack him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
So she comes out from the background, like wipes the floor with Craven. Granted, she has to fight a little bit harder. Like he's getting some licks in, she's getting some licks in, but she knocks him out. She hisses at him, standing over his body.
Well, she's
Because
a cat.
he says that like he's buried her boyfriend in the ground. So
Yep.
she thinks she's getting revenge for his death.
And like I love this panel of her just like being feral almost.
Totally baller.
It's fine.
And then she just digs Peter up with her hands. Like he's just in the ground.
And he is
like
6 feet in the ground, by the way.
takes a while.
Okay, no, he said that.
No, because in
I'm
Craven's
very
Last
that
Hunt,
6
one.
feet on the ground.
yeah, but no, he in the book he literally digs himself out, and it's 6 feet.
Oh, I believe it. I think in this one he shortchanged. He was like 2 feet down. He's like, I'm tired.
Well, you know, it's like the butterfly effect. Like because Spider-Man and Mary Jane didn't work out, like Craven doesn't work out literally himself
Right,
as
right.
often. So
Yeah.
he's weaker, so he doesn't dig the grave nearly as deep.
Yeah.
In any case, she defeats Craven the Hunter.
Which apparently we're supposed to be glad that like she saves him. But given the scenario, he would have just saved himself because apparently he can just breathe underground
Well,
and survive there for a long time.
He was in the coffin.
Yeah.
There's no coffin in the panel here, but like
No, he's just in the dirt.
he must have skipped the
I
coffin
guess-
in this version of reality. But
I'm rushed. I couldn't dig as deep. I couldn't get the coffin.
Yeah.
There was a lot going
But his
on.
motivation to free himself is like Mary Jane and Aunt May. And
Well, this
everything.
is the thing, as like he's drugged, and when she finally uncovers him, he goes, "Oh, I can breathe again. Mary Jane, you saved me. Mary Jane." And she's
that
like,
panel of her eyes just welling up with tears and,
and like fury.
fury. It's amazing.
That I like.
That Valentino
That's-
crushes
yeah,
it.
That's,
I'm gonna visit Mary Jane and I'm going to bitch slap her.
that's not her fault.
Yeah, but
Oh,
Felicia's
does
crazy.
that matter to Felicia?
No.
No. So, she tells herself it's the drugs, but like there's that little voice inside of her head.
Along with all the other ones.
Yep. They're taking out villains left and right. They defeat Electro. They defeat Venom.
Yeah, then Venom shows up because originally when they were newlyweds, when Venom shows
love-
up,
I
let's
love
see how Venom is treated.
The one panel defeat of Electro.
Just two
Both
punches
of them
at the
punching
end.
them.
Just all right now.
Like
who
a
cares?
Batman and Robin comic.
It really
Yeah.
is. The whole
Like-
panel is actually framed by the word "pow," a la Batman and Robin, the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she has a giant sonic gun where she defeats Venom.
That's actually inaccurate. Like, it is kind of comic accurate. Spider-Man goes and gets Reed Richards' Sonic Blaster when he goes to face Venom at the church bell tower.
Yep.
So, in this case, she carries the gun and he tries to fight him man to man. So then she vaporizes the symbiote.
Like with 2 blasts.
Yeah.
Like bam. He's like, hey,
I almost
that
felt
didn't really
that.
affect me. And then she hits him again. He's like, oh, I'm down for the count.
Well, she also hits him with, like, at point blank range and doesn't stop shooting him.
yeah, and then
That-
she's gonna shoot him again.
I'll give her that. I mean, like.
It's Venom.
It's just he's you know, I've seen enough movies.
Yeah, to know,
This is not.
gotta keep shooting
Yeah,
him.
just don't stop.
Yeah,
Also,
that's
she
right.
probably has a little bit PTSD because, like, she's seeing the black suit again, and she's like, "I'm gonna."
He's
get you
wearing
back
the
for
black
that-
suit, too.
I'm gonna get you back for that Mary Jane comment.
Right, exactly. He's a bigger Spider-Man. It reminds her of the entire experience.
That's the whole thing. And like, she's about to shoot Venom again, and he takes the gun. He's like, "No, we defeated him. He's down. He's done for the count."
We
If don't-
defeated him.
If we don't let him go now, who are we gonna fight later?
Exactly. How
I'm
will
gonna be
people
out of a
know?
job.
How will people know how awesome Venom is if we don't let him go?
Somehow, someone gets a picture of Spider-Man and Black Cat kissing each other.
Probably Peter Parker. It's probably from his private collection. He's like, "Hey, James, you want some sexy photos of Spider-Man making it out with Black Cat?"
He's a villain, but ooh,
But
he's
she's a villain
Casanova
too, so yes.
What a Don Juan.
Why do you look up after you make these references? You're like, what face is
I
she
have-
making?
I'm like, I got some laughs out there. Tiffany? Nope.
No.
Nope. Okay. So Mary Jane sees the newspaper. She crumples it up. She's bereft. She is beside herself, and she decides to give Peter a call.
Well, because she's wondering, like, maybe he was seeing her on the side the entire time. Like, maybe that's why they broke up.
Yeah.
So I guess she wants closure.
Yeah.
And also maybe to, you know, just hear yes or no.
Yeah,
Or just
get some
tell
info.
me, and if yes, then I'm definitely gonna just lay into you here.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And
make
if
me feel
no,
better.
then I'll still be upset.
Right. But,
So-
you know, at least I'll know.
But she calls. Felicia picks up, still in the Black Cat uniform.
We actually
so-
never see her in her civilian uniform
No,
the
she's
entire
just in the
book.
apartment hanging out. So obviously she just wears that the entire time. Otherwise,
Naturally.
we wouldn't know who she is.
That's true, yeah.
This is for our benefit.
It's hard to tell.
And she's like, "Hello, Peter," and she's like, "No, Felicia." She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's Mary Jane." I know. And then it's just like, "Goodbye." And, like, Felicia hangs up the phone. Mary Jane's like, "Sorry to have bothered you."
Yeah, this is interesting that apparently if the marriage doesn't go their way, Mary Jane loses all of her spine and any like character that she used to have.
Well,
I think she regrets. She's like, "What did I call?"
I mean,
this
she does say
that
that.
was the evidence of why
But
I
she's
shouldn't
like,
have
oh,
called.
but she's always like, oh no, like she's really sad all the time,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Mary Jane has never been like that.
I attributed it to her being like, I love him so much, I want him to be happy, and if that's what makes him happy, fine, and I shouldn't get in the way of it.
but
She
then I
also
saw a
wanted to
picture,
yeah,
Yeah.
and that,
and
like,
I'm upset because
which is
this
fair.
is the first time we've seen
this
her
is
since.
the 1989 equivalent of her seeing the new romance on Facebook.
Or Instagram.
Yeah, or Instagram, either way. Thank you for ratcheting it up another decade.
Got you back.
So we cut back to the apartment, that Peter's apartment, and Felicia's now, I guess. Peter walks in. He's got groceries. He's in his civvies because he's Peter Parker. She's still in her black hat outfit, and he's like, "Hey, I heard the phone ring. Who was it?" And she's like, "It was a wrong number." He's like, "Good. I don't want to be disturbed when I ask you to marry me."
Oh!
And he busts out a ring.
Right. And then the two of them smile like no two human
Like
beings
they're
should
insane.
ever smile.
For me, that is quintessential Felicia Hardy. That
Yeah,
is the
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen human beings in real life that smile like that.
And Felicia asks herself, like, is it me he wants, or is it he's just on the rebound?
Who cares?
Doesn't matter. I lost him once, I won't let it happen again. She says yes. And he's like, oh, let's go celebrate on the town. She's like, all right, but I've got a quick errand to run. She just leaps out the sky roof.
Yeah,
The
skylight.
skylight.
Yeah.
The sky roof, the sun stuff with windows.
Sun stuff. So, yeah, and he's like, hey, whoa, we live here. People could say,
My spider sense didn't go off, so I guess it's fine.
as long as I'm here all the time, I'll be able to monitor whether
That's
she...
the confusing thing. I don't know if anyone's outside or not.
Yeah, but
How can I detect
I'm in
that?
danger of losing my identity, so that would trigger my spider sense. It's very esoteric. Let's just move on.
Okay.
Don't think about it.
Yeah.
Don't
Nah.
pull that string.
Nope. So, Mary Jane is exiting her apartment, and she's like, why'd I even call him? God, that was a dumb thing to do. What would I even do if I'd gotten him? Like, how could I trust him again? Like, I don't want to be back with that. That's crazy. And then suddenly, like, there's a guy watching her around the corner of the building. Yeah, like a total creep.
Yeah.
He's like, huh.
He's got his creep
That
trench
Watson
coat.
chick. The one that got dumped by that shutterbug, Parker. That was his name. Man, what a jerk to give up a dish like
Because
that.
we all think like that,
Yeah.
by the way. We all think in exposition terms in case anyone's monitoring our thoughts to get context
Right.
what we're thinking about.
He's like, anyway, I gotta go flash some people.
exactly. I gotta get to the park.
Me and my random trench coat.
Yeah, I'm late.
By the way, like, knows who he is, knows who she is just randomly outside her apartment.
Yeah, is he
That
casing
a
the place?
stalker.
That's a creeper, yeah.
So, Black Cat suddenly jumps in front of Mary Jane, and she goes, Watson! She's like, what? Cat! He's like, hey, you see this ring? I thought she was just going to deck her right in the face
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
She's like, he's going to marry me now. He left you at the altar. He's marrying me. He loves me. Leave him alone. He's all mine. Have a nice life.
Thanks.
This is a totally rational response from a
Yeah.
human
Oh,
being.
we're engaged.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta go stick it to your ex-girlfriend.
And Black Cat specifically says, Spider-Man, I'm going to be Spider-Man's wife.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine Aunt May having to deal with this?
Oh my god. Yeah, oh, like Thanksgiving with Felicia Hardy.
In her black hat
She would
costume?
not change, so she'd totally be in that costume. Oh, Peter,
Halloween's over, dear.
you don't need to hire a prostitute. I have other neighbors who have nieces who I could introduce you to.
Not good.
Oh, and for Christmas too? Okay, well, this is
Okay,
just
well,
going
you know
on.
what? Don't bother.
She just knits her like ponchos.
Yeah, Felicia, I got you another sweater.
You seem chilly because you're wearing a skin tight
You know, because you're not wearing anything. I like passive-aggressive Aunt May.
She just starts locking her door.
Yeah.
He was like, Aunt May? Oh, turn off the lights. You can't see him here. Son of a bitch.
I know you're in there, Aunt May. We're here for tea.
I want wheat cakes!
Exactly.
You will accept us.
I need my fix, and she's terrible at making them.
She won't even try.
So suddenly this guy, who is a detective now, is like, oh man, Spider-Man's wife. I may not be a rocket scientist, but if I put two and two together, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to say what the actual reveal is.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends.
Yep.
the
And then
issue.
it promises to have a part 2, which it does, and I have, and will do in a future episode. But let me tell you something. If you think you know where this is going, you are incorrect.
That's why with that misleading, I'm like, just say that you know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. No one's allowed to know.
Right. No. What if Spider-Man's parents destroyed his family?
I think I know what book I'm going to be doing.
I think you do too. Which is incidentally written by Kurt Busiek.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. who wrote Avengers JLA and a billion other comics. Yeah, so with 2 different artists.
Is that okay? There are 2 different artists.
Actually, I think it's like
it's a lot
4
more than that.
artists.
Because like
It's Yarvinen, Wildman, Yaniger, and Amash.
Because like there's a
What?
point in this book where I was just like, this is horrible, and then there's a point I'm like, wait,
Oh,
this is
it's
good.
getting better.
Do I not remember how bad?
No.
What?
It's so bizarre because there's like 3 pages of story in this book, but out of the like 15 pages of actual comic, there are like 4 different artists drawing and there's no thematic shift between the art. Doesn't matter.
This is a very trying issue for everyone.
But this story is just okay. So this is also unprecedented because this What If comic was happening during or right before the Pursuit arc in Spider-Man. So like Spider-Man's parents came back to life, and there was an arc about that, and then it turns out that they are artificial life forms created by the machinations of Chameleon and a mysterious other party, which we won't get into until the last part of this book.
Right.
But it's stupid. And Amazing 400, or yeah, 400? No, it's 350 or something like that. Doesn't matter. There's a special like holographic cover issue where his parents die. He fights them and they die, and it sucks, and he's sad. But they're not even his parents because they're fake robot things. And while that was happening, they also released this, and they're like, well, what if it didn't work out well for him? What if instead something insane happened?
Yeah,
More insane.
I'm sorry, did it not work out well? Did it work out well in the book? Because it didn't think it did.
They were defeated. And in this one, they are not, kind of. So
it's almost like they're like, hey, you thought that was bad?
yeah, like, hey, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. So the idea here being that like Richard and Mary Parker just kind of like come out of nowhere, and they're like, hey, we're back. We were actually held by like Soviets or something.
Yeah, the Russians. They had.
And
That's big at that time.
yeah, so they actually wound up like being instrumental characters during the Maximum Carnage arc. Like the dad is like full of rage, and he inspires Spider-Man to be a dick during the entire thing. So.
Good role model.
But in this idea, they're basically like, they call up their mysterious informant. This is the alternate reality that's taking place within this What If book. They call up their informant, and they're like, the old woman kind of suspects that we're not real, because she does.
She didn't just suspect it. She's like, you're an imposter. Get out of my house.
She totally is. And
I think she's onto us.
and in the original comic, Pete's like, oh my god, Aunt May is losing it. And you're like, damn it, Peter.
Okay, spider sense at any point? Come on.
No, and I don't know why that doesn't
Peter,
work out.
you fought like like lizard people and a guy who thinks he's a vulture
And living
goblins,
vampires.
But Aunt May's losing it.
But Aunt May's losing
And
it because
you dealt with clones.
your
and-
long-lost parents come out of a secret Soviet camp, and that seems totally legit. So
I need
basically,
this. I
they're
need it
like,
to be legit.
so they're like, okay, go to Plan B, which is just go completely berserk. So his artificial life form parents turn into their artificial life form forms from the issue where they die, where they're basically just big, crazy purple mutant monsters.
Yeah.
But
They are hideous.
and in the comic that originally this story culminated from, they have like full terrible faces, and they morph their faces to like half their parents, or half of his parents, so that Peter will fight less hard because it'll be sad.
I thought it was to remind the reader
Who they are. That is straight up what it is. Because if you're reading this book, you're like, if I'm not reading Spider-Man at this time, I have no idea what's happening.
Right.
Because it's happening concurrently.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're like, so that's why it's unprecedented. So
Yeah.
anyway, they show up, and the Mary Parker counterpart morphs her artificial life form hands into mallets, and she bonks Aunt May and Mary Jane to death. Straight up bonks them.
Yeah.
Like once.
Yep, and they die.
Yeah, and it's like, it's amazing because there's 0 damage to them in like any of the.
It just looks like they're asleep.
Yeah.
There's straight up no gore because it's drawn by what appears to be an Archie Comics artist.
Or someone who's doing Popeye.
Right, it straight up looks like a Popeye comic, and it's really, really like inappropriate based on the context of what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's to make it more, to soften the blow a little bit.
Yep.
No pun intended.
Well, but it happened. So Spider-Man loses his wife and aunt immediately, and then he freaks out and he attacks them. And while he's attacking them, his civilian clothes are torn, and so his Spider-Man costume's revealed. And so because he's lost them, he doesn't care. He's thrown everything out the window. And so he's just straight up fighting them in the street. And
Well, they make a run for it.
they do make a run for it. Well, he knocks them out the building, and then they
Yeah.
try to take off. And then,
And they're on a roof somewhere.
well, they jump off the roof. There's a big fight, like, because they blast through the wall, and they land on the ground. But, like, they fight, and then they get away, and then they go, okay, well, let's transform back into our civilian identities. So they become themselves. And Spider-Man has no patience for it whatsoever.
But this is the dumbest thing, because they're like, we can't be attacked here. Like, people will see us, and they'll know that, like, the entire plan will be ruined. Not that we know what the plan is.
No, we never. Well, because the writer doesn't know what the plan is either, because they haven't revealed what the plan is in the actual comic that they're what-ifing.
So we can't kill him swiftly and silently here, so let's knock him out and then transform back. Oh, we've knocked him out. I guess we could kill him swiftly and silently, but let's move past that.
Precisely. So then they leave into the crowd, and Spider-Man just tears through the crowd. He's grabbing civilians, just throwing them out the window, because he doesn't think that because he's completely gone insane. He's become delusional, and he's like, well, if you're imposters, and that means that the people that you murdered, my aunt and my wife, they're imposters too. Where are they? What have you done with them? He morphs between those two versions of reality. Like, sometimes he is aware they're dead, and sometimes he thinks that they're imposters, and there's no attention paid whatsoever to the versions of that. But he's basically just tearing through town, and some photo aficionado.
Well, no, then it becomes the fugitive.
Yes, because they run to a bar or something, and they beg for help, and they tell everyone that Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
They're like, that's our son, and
our
he's
son is Spider-Man, and he's trying to kill us.
And he killed his wife and aunt.
Yes. So somebody takes a
I
picture.
didn't kill my family.
So
I love this headline.
Yeah. So Spider-Man's tearing through town, and that's the photo they get of, like, Spider-Man just attacking indiscriminate civilians.
With no mask on.
And yeah,
It's
so
just
it's
like
over.
torn clothes, the suit underneath, and his face.
And so the Daily Bugle headline is Spider-Man exposed, kills wife, relative.
But there's no time to write aunt.
No. Yeah, you could put aunt, but no,
It's
relative.
shorter.
It's shorter.
But whatever.
But no.
Yeah, but which aunt?
The only
Like
one he has.
The only one he has.
No, like the mother's sister, the father's sister. We have to be specific about this.
Yeah, no, it's a headline. Moving on. So, Flash Thompson, head of the Spider-Man fan club and
Yep.
best friend to Peter Parker, former bully, is reading the headline. He's like, this is all bunk. There's no way. Spider-Man's the best. I don't believe it. And that's his MO for the entire book.
He is the one person in New York that has faith.
Yes. Jameson is admiring his handiwork. Robbie's like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. I don't know. And then Spider-Man just smashes through the window, and he's like, screw you. You're a bunch of jerks.
I like that he puts the mask back on like it matters now.
Right, exactly. So he's full Spider-Man regalia. Robbie's like, Pete, stop. And he's like, no. And he punches Robbie into the wall. And you're like, last friend in the entire world. And he's 65, and you smash him into a wall.
I'm sure he's okay.
So then
Fine.
he basically shakes down Jameson for information because he knows that the parents are being protected by someone. And so he grabs a typewriter, which even in 1996 or whatever, 94, he would not have used. So he crumples it up to demonstrate his strength, even though we have a headline photo of him tossing human beings like tissues. And he's like, this is going to be you if you don't tell me. And so he's like, well, they're at Avengers headquarters. And Spider-Man's like, oh, well, the Avengers are lame in 1994. I could totally kick their ass. So he leaves, and Captain America and the Human Torch team up to look for him. And they're both kind of sympathetic a little bit, but not nearly as much as they should be. And
They say none of the right things.
They say none of the right things. They're just like, well, you gotta give yourself up. And at no point do they believe him or give him the benefit of the doubt. They're
Like,
just
hey, what happened?
No, you gotta give yourself up. You totally murdered your wife and aunt like you never would, and we know you personally, but whatever. Because your parents who came out of nowhere with the flimsiest excuse of where they came from and how they're back.
Yeah, well, I'm Spider-Man and I don't have to explain myself to you.
So he just straight up attacks like Captain America and Human Torch and easily evades them. And how the hell does he even know about the secret location? He winds up.
He had a spider tracer on the Vulture.
Thank you. So he tracks the Vulture to a secret location, which is this underground lair that is controlled by the Chameleon.
Where is
And
it?
It's in New Jersey.
It's in New Jersey,
Of course.
naturally.
Woo! So he shows, anytime that any Marvel writer needs a convenient location that has a yard, they pick New Jersey. Like any place that has room. Yeah, Forest Hills. But the other time it's New Jersey. It's in a place that Spider-Man needs to like take a ride to.
Or if there's a warehouse somewhere.
New Jersey
or
warehouse.
A dump.
New Jersey dump.
Thanks.
So Spider-Man shows up and he just makes quick work of them. We demonstrate how serious and badass he is by breaking the Vulture's arm.
Yeah.
Vulture, of course, is in his human parasite suit, but that does not come into play at all in this. It's just that that's the suit. that he was wearing during this very small window of time when they were making Spider-Man comics. And that, of course, incidentally, is also the suit that the cartoon show took their P's and Q's from. So they're like, that's what Vulture looks like. And he has vampire powers. So it's like, that's a really narrow window of time. Nope, but it's immortalized for cartoons forever there.
I would have loved it if he had said, "He broke my wing," and the chameleon's like, "Hey, this isn't the time for that kind of joke."
Damn it. So he faces off against the chameleon, and he grabs him and lifts him up by his throat, and chameleon switches over. What?
Tell me to get out.
Oh, okay. So he morphs into Mary Jane. He's like, "You wouldn't kill your own wife, would you?" And he's like, "Oh, no, you don't." So he throws him through a window and kills him.
This is when the art gets better.
Yeah, slightly.
Slightly. It's better than it was.
It's certainly more appropriate. They look like people instead of like cartoon show characters. But he kills the chameleon in a move that never would have killed the chameleon in any other comic.
I actually don't understand what kills him because it looks like he's just right outside the window.
Yeah. No, he throws him through a window that's about 3 feet away from him. And then he seems unconscious like every other character that Spider-Man's ever thrown through a window would be, except now he's dead. Like he would be in real life if you actually threw a person through a window.
Well, I assume the glass impaled him. That's my assumption.
There's no
there's
violence
blood.
whatsoever. There's no blood. There's nothing
He just
to
looks
indicate
shocked.
that.
Well, he says he's dead, so I was like, it's got to be the glass.
Yeah. So Flash Thompson is conducting his own investigation. So he goes to Avengers headquarters and he asks Black Widow in her 90s outfit, which is a head-to-toe gray leotard.
Yeah, with a big spider on it.
With a big spider and like a popped collar. And he's like, "Black Widow, tell me it ain't so." And she's like, "It is." And Flash like blast and leaves. Like it's literally just that's the conversation. But Flash recounts to Liz Allen for no reason. She's with him. But they're walking by and he's like, "Oh."
Well, I'll sound crazy if I'm just talking to myself.
This is true. And Spider-Man can't hear my thought bubble, so I have to have a person to talk to. So he says out loud that he doesn't believe it and that Spider-Man would never do this. And Spider-Man's like nearby listening and he's like, "Oh, Flash, like you're so loyal and you're my friend, but I can't trust you and anybody else, blah, blah, blah." So then he's like taking a break from feeling sorry for himself to look slightly to the left on top of Avengers Mansion, where his artificial life form parents are escaping because they're like, we have to get
to New Jersey.
We have to get to New Jersey to continue our nefarious plan. So he sees them and then he engages them and then they fight. They have a big vicious fight where Spider-Man just like kicks them and punches them. And while that's happening, the Human Torch is patrolling looking for Spider-Man. He sees silhouettes fighting on the roof of Avengers Mansion, doesn't see them as horrible mutated monsters.
Nope.
And then they see him, and they're like, "Oh no, if he sees us as ourselves, we're toast." So then they duck into a nearby alley. Spider-Man desperately tries to stop them, and ultimately, like, they make an off-color comment about being his parents. Like, they keep like taunting him by being like, "We're your parents, haha, like we love you," and he's like, "Ah," just making him freak out.
He just screams.
Yeah,
after a while.
he just screams, and thankfully they don't fill it with like "ah." It just says Spider-Man's only reply is a wordless yell of grief and rage, and then he throws himself at them, and they all take a tumble. They smash through the ceiling of some building,
and they're low on power.
They're like, "Oh no, we only have time to transform one last time, and this fall may be the death of us. So let's transform into our Richard and Mary Parker versions of ourselves, so that if we die, we can further frame Spider-Man for our murders." So then they transform as they fall, and then conveniently enough are impaled by nearby shrapnel. And so Spider-Man like wakes up from his delirium long enough to be dressed by everyone that this artist decided to draw from the Marvel Universe, which includes people like Rage and Night Thrasher and Sleepwalker and Nova and Thunderstrike and Hercules and Darkhawk and a veritable who's who of who gives a crap. And of course, the Thing is, this is like, let's take a quick snapshot of what Marvel looks like right now. The Thing has a robot helmet on because he thinks that he's grosser than he normally is, and the Invisible Woman has a 4 cut out of her boobs, and it's like a nightmare. And the Falcon's like floating up ahead, and he's like, "How could you do it, Spider-Man? How could you kill your whole family?
I don't need this crap from you."
And Captain America's like, "It's over, give yourself up," even though like it's obviously not over. But Flash is there, of course, as well, because they called everybody who has like slight muscles in the tri-state area. And Flash is like, "Say it ain't so, Spider-Man." And there's narration that says like, yeah, it would be very easy to prove that he's innocent, But Spider-Man says, why bother, and then gives himself up. And the last page reveal is that unseen by anyone else in the area, a secret, nefarious puppeteer is watching and sinisterly smiles. We don't see who it is because Kurt Busiek doesn't know who it is because they haven't revealed who it is. Who is it? It's dead Harry Osborn. In Pursuit, Harry Osborn was in charge of everything, and he did it before he died in the Spectacular Spider-Man 200.
It's okay. I have to assume that Norman Osborn is really behind it,
Well,
telling his dead son to do it.
he is technically, but not until the retcon after the Clone Saga. So right now it's Harry Osborn, but Busiek doesn't know that, so whatever. So it's just like, what the crap happened? It's just, but it's like, yeah, he basically just gives up on everything because it's just hard. Just like Spider-Man would.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, certainly it's not part of his origins.
Yeah, giving up through adversity.
Right, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, naturally.
That was a good one.
Yeah, good one. So the final one is Anthropomorphosis.
Thanks.
Enjoy.
So this is What If, starring Spider-Man.
Arachnomorphosis.
Arachnomorphosis, which, yeah, here we go. It's written by Ben Rabb, with pencils by Ariel Olivetti.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this one doesn't even start with the Watcher. Like, we're just not.
No, they gave up on the convention.
We're not
of the
even going to
Watcher.
worry about that anymore. They're just like, hey, you know that universe where Peter Parker got bit by a radioactive spider and got like super sweet powers? That's not what this is.
This is dark and sad.
This is like if you got bit by a radioactive spider in like any horror movie ever.
In a horror movie.
That's what happens here. They're just like
The horrors of Spider Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only he doesn't get like a club hand. And like one
You
face.
just get like pinch your hands.
Yeah.
But basically, Peter Parker in this universe got bit by a radioactive spider, and like he now occasionally gets overwhelmed by like a hunger, and there's like a spider that he turns into, and it's like a horrible spider monster where he gets a bunch of arms and he has to eat meat.
Yeah.
He needs meat, and it could be anything. Like if you have a steak in the fridge, sweet, and if you don't,
Then you better watch out.
it's not going well for you. But he's confined himself most of his time to his lab and his house. Because he's trying desperately to figure out a way to stop this. Because in this universe, he has a son
Yeah.
with Gwen.
Right. At some point, he controlled his metamorphosis long enough to woo,
Gwen.
marry,
Yep.
impregnate Gwen.
She had a baby. It has like giant red eyes.
Yep.
And I guess she left or died.
She died.
Because they mentioned her not coming back at one point.
Yeah, they
but
mentioned her
then later
not-
on, like Butch makes fun of him, being like, "Yeah, your mom's dead."
And he's like, take it back.
Ugh.
But like,
When
we
she
don't
saw
know if
your
that's true.
when she saw your face, she keeled over in the hospital. And he's like, take that back. And I'm like, I assume take that back meant like that hit too close to home.
Because
but
I assumed it was like he didn't know. He doesn't know what happened to his mom.
that's true. Yeah.
She could have just been like, "No, man."
Yeah. I assume she does.
She jumped off a bridge.
Wow.
So
Turned on you.
Hey, I elicited the booze that I was going to give myself.
But that was awesome. Like, you know what? No.
Nope.
You're telling me that Gwen Stacy did a swan dive right off of this bridge?
She did a Peter Pan.
Right off this bridge.
So anyway, so he's trying to create this like serum that will cure his son from having to worry about this in the future.
Yeah.
Right?
Because his son is afflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bug boy.
Well, he knows that he's like, one day in the future, my son's gonna start turning into a horrible spider monster too, and I should stop that.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to do as a dad. But I'm also gonna be the worst dad ever.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna explain any of this to you. I'm just gonna be like, go to school.
Right. You
and-
look like a horrible bug boy, and I'm gonna send you to school with no context for why you look
we're
like
Teen
that.
Wolfing this up.
We're this is Teen Wolf and the Karate Kid.
It's just a lot of things. So his son, Benjamin Richard Parker.
Yep. Because everyone in all comics are unoriginal and name every kid they have after someone important.
Right?
They never start with something original.
Hey, Albus Severus Potter, you shut your mouth.
Hey,
It was very natural and not forced at all. Good
he was named
light.
after two great wizards, and you play off.
And one of them was a Slytherin.
Yeah, and he was awesome.
Do you
I will
guys?
fight you.
No, I'm just reciting the line.
Yeah.
fair, I-
Do you know what happens, by the way, to Albus Severus Potter?
Yeah, but let's talk about
just gonna say.
Benjamin Richard Parker.
It's rough.
It doesn't really work out for him. So he goes to Jameson Middle School.
I guess Jameson must have given a generous donation.
He's on all the Board of Education.
Oh yeah, because he gives a shit.
He's just like, no, they're gonna learn about this menace, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Who's legitimately a menace in
He
this.
doesn't even know who that
I
is.
know. In this, he has no idea.
Yeah.
But Ben gets his butt whooped every afternoon by the same group of bullies, led by Butch Thompson. Because, of course, he has to be beat up.
It's Back to the Future!
Ah, it's all the same. And, like, when I say, like, beat up, I mean, like, Butch has a full-on baseball bat, and he's just like, I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah.
It's just like, where are any adults? Like, no, school's done.
3
Bye.
o'clock, I am out of there.
Yeah.
No, I don't care.
I have to deal with these kids from 9 to 3.
Like, oh.
9 to 3.
Look, I
Hard
see him,
3.
I see him getting beat up over there, but it's 3:05.
Maybe it's like this
gotta-
version of New York is like Derry, Maine, and it's just like everyone's like just turns a blind eye.
I guess, but
'Cause
like,
he
I
has
can't do a thing about this.
It is like because like all the kids
Yeah.
are monsters.
they
and-
are. But like, they're also like, the reason they hate him is because he's a mutant. So we're
Yes.
bringing in the whole like mutant fear, where they're just like, oh, you're a mutie. Ah.
And he's like, no, I'm not. Don't you say it.
I'm not technically. I'm not.
And it's like technically, no, you are.
No.
Actually.
No.
So
So anyway, the fight's broken up by Sarah Joy Watson.
Of course.
Yep.
She shows up.
Mary Jane had a kid too.
With her red hair, and she's just like, "Hey, Butch, like, lay off. Like, just leave him alone.
Yep.
Like, don't be a jerk. We're all humans. Who cares? Like, literally, just like trying to keep the peace."
She's got the Charles Xavier message ready to go.
Yeah, she, you know, she's ready to work for that school.
Yo, big time. She's a recruiter.
I'm sorry, are you a mutant?
Because
No.
you should have one of these pamphlets. Oh no? Give me that back.
No, that's her being like,
Oh.
no, I'm not.
Yeah. Oh no. I just
I just
think they're
I dig
cool.
your style.
yeah.
It's
I'm
cool.
hip.
Yeah, I like the blue and yellow. I don't know. So
I'm just
anyway,
saying if I could get a uniform, it would be nice.
right? So then she kicks him in the balls basically, and then makes a run for it with Ben. She's like, "Come on, we gotta get out of here!" And they run over the train tracks, and like he loses his hat, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta get my
The hat covers his horrible
Yeah,
visage.
he's like, "I don't want her to see I'm a monster." And then of course a train is coming instantaneously,
Just it appears.
like it's a ghost. And so she like saves him, and like when they land, she sees that he's like big red eyes, and she's just like, you know, she's like, "Oh, okay, that's a lot to take in."
yeah.
But sure, and he doesn't even give her a chance to really react to anything, because like he's like, "I have to get out of here. I'm a monster. Don't look at me." And she's like, "Just stop." All right.
Which is fair, you know. I mean, like, first of all, he is a monster. And
He's big.
No,
he just has big eyes and
it's that
spiky
he's
hair.
a
It's like-
teenager. He's like, nah, I've acted. Don't look at me. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a, you know.
So then he like goes home. By the way, what's up with his house?
Oh, his house is a straight up
Murder house?
It's a gothic Bates Motel-esque.
It looks like it literally has like almost like spider legs coming out of the side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
there
just
are
like
claws coming out of it.
it's just like I don't know. Peter
and gnarled trees in
Maybe-
the foreground that
this
frame this
might be
soul.
hitting it on the nose a little hard there. The Parkers, all two of them, have a dog named Regis, and like he's excited that Ben's home, and Ben's just like, "Get away from me! I hate you!" Like, why
Yeah.
not? And Peter's like,
Oh no,
"Oh, that's
he's mean to Regis.
he's getting aggressive, just like I was. Uh-oh, I better work harder."
Time to cut his balls off.
Right?
No, the boy's getting more aggressive.
He's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, time to cut his balls off.
Same thing.
Oh jeez.
So then, like, Peter's like, "Hey, don't be so hard on the dog. By the way, did you give any more thought to that Xavier School for gifted youngsters?" It's like,
Maybe you might want to work on your act.
this
there.
wasn't the thing to start the day off with.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks like you had a hard day. Like, being
Maybe
called
I
a
should-
mutant and like being, you want to go to the school where mutants go?
You want to be shipped off and never see me again?
Exactly.
Because I do want that to happen.
like,
It's just your
jeez.
bug eyes are really bothering me.
There's a moment where he like talks to one of the recruiters from the Xavier Institute, and they're friends or something. He has like a voicemail from
It's
Xavier.
Xavier.
From Charles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
well,
like,
well,
and he
yeah.
go, but like, I'm just saying, like, like, if they know each other and you're turning into a horrible monster, like, why don't you go there, you jackass? Why are you
Because-
working in the basement?
He's gonna solve it on his own.
Because he's a terrible father.
He really is.
Xavier's like, "I can't help you. You're not a mutant.
Right.
You don't have the gene.
Well, you're not technically a mutant, so I refuse to use any of my resources to help
This isn't
you.
really in my purview.
Right, but your son is, so maybe I might help him.
So
out.
yeah, you
I'm
know.
just saying, I know I'm supposed to be inclusive and say like mutants and humans, that's fine.
But get out.
But you're a gross bug man.
Yeah. But my boy is a
I have to
buzz.
deal with Nightcrawler all the time.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler. Those gross hands.
So anyway, like, Peter collapses, and he's just like, "Oh no, I'm just trying to help Ben." Oh, because like he's changing, and then you see like a horrible bug monster in like silhouette go to the refrigerator where a ham hock is waiting for him, and he picks it up and eats the whole thing.
By the way, I am disappointed that we just don't have like giant haunches of ham sitting on our fridges at home.
This is, well, I mean, that's really on you.
Yeah,
you
can
could just
do
go
that.
to the butcher
You're an
and get
adult.
one.
You could
Yeah,
just
buy one yourself.
Just to buy a giant spiral ham, leave
The
it in
day
there.
I realized I was an adult and could do what I wanted, the first thing I bought was like ice cream. I just ate it by myself. It was amazing.
Yeah, dude, we
Yeah,
could
but
go to the
that's
shop,
expensive.
right?
Ham hocks are more expensive than ice cream.
But that's not enough. So like the bug creature calls out for the dog.
Yeah.
And so
you're like, "Oh."
the next morning, Peter wakes up. He's like, "Oh, it's like the third time I've passed out and woken up in my clothes, and like obviously things aren't going well." And there's like meat on the floor, and he finds this piece of meat, and he's just like, "Oh, okay, well I better just throw this out." I got to really work on resisting this acronym, whatever it is. I got to work on resisting
Turning into a
that.
spider, yeah.
It's just not working out for me. And then he's just about to throw the meat away, and he's like, "You know what? Yum, nom, 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 nom." He's just like, "I'm just gonna eat it anyway." He's just like, "This'll help."
Yeah.
It's not whatnot.
And he's
Right.
just like, "It's just really gross. It's rotted, but like
But I am a spider guy.
like I'm just gonna eat it anyway." Now I'm done. And he checks it out, and he's like, "And now to have breakfast with my son," who shows up in like his t-shirt and it's like covered in blood, and he's just like, "You might want to get changed before you go to school." And he's just like, "I don't care. I'm not changing. I'm just going to school."
It's like, that's-
And he's just being a teenager, and he's just like, "Also, you know, maybe we should think about that
Xavier
for
School.
special youngsters, because you know you're gifted."
Because going to school every day and getting your butt kicked is probably not a good.
It's just it doesn't seem to be working out for you.
No, exactly.
This is the morning I'm finally gonna break the news to him. Hey, Tiger, do you want
You're
some
the
Cheerios? You're going off to the Xavier School.
Hey,
I
I'm-
explain nothing.
hop in the car. I'm going to take you to school.
So-
Which school?
So here's what's funny is like Ben also hates mutants, I guess because he is one. He's like one of them self-hating mutants. He's just he's like, "Oh, they got blue fur and 3 toes, and I'm not like that. I'm
He's just
totally
trying to
normal."
fit in. He's trying to fit in with the rest
but
of them.
you could fit in with them.
And that's not exactly
And they're working
fitting
on
in.
fitting in with everyone else. Like, why don't you be on the bandwagon for fitting in with everyone?
Right.
Instead of being on the bandwagon of getting your ass kicked every 5 seconds.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't know. And maybe it'll like, you know, you'll be able to handle this whole problem you've got.
Yeah.
Because you have no control over it.
Exactly.
So anyway, he makes a run for it with his. I thought he was gonna run away, but he's like, "Nah, I got my books and my lunch. I'm still going to school." I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah. No, he runs away to school.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
"I'm gonna go get my butt kicked. You can't stop me."
Yeah.
I may be in a bloody t-shirt. I may have done some terrible things last night, and I may be a terrible freak. But if I get detention one more time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am in for it.
But I worked
stickler.
really hard on my book report, and she's gonna grade it today.
Yeah.
Or else.
Where the red fern grow.
Oh. So anyway, Peter remarks that he's just like, "Wow, I've managed to alienate my only relative before the cornflakes even got soggy. Yeah, I'm doing good at this. This is I'm a good dad. I'm gonna go take a look for the dog. I haven't seen him in a while." And he wanders out and he looks up and he hears like this like whimpering.
Yeah.
And in the trees, webbed up, is the dog. And it has like
It's clearly like drained.
yeah.
Dead, but somehow there's a howl.
Yeah.
I guess it was like the
Like it
last
was the
Those
whimper.
are death
trees.
throws.
Yeah, just
Well, because he's calling for it, it must have been trying to call back to him because
Yeah.
it didn't know that he murdered it.
Yeah, and Peter's like, "What have I done?" And clearly that was the leg on the floor.
Yeah, that's what you've done.
He's just like, "Oh,
Yeah, it gets really dark.
it just doesn't go good places."
Dark and gross, like. ugh.
Yeah,
Right?
they show you.
So then later on, it's dinner time. Presumably Ben got his butt kicked.
I love that Ben like had a big dramatic exit from the breakfast table, and then when it's dinner time, he's like, "Hey, all right, I'm here. What's for dinner?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
still
hungry,
gonna
though."
stay." And
And Peter's
Do
like,
we have any more pets?
hey, so I'm gonna give you 3 guesses what I want to talk about. He's
one
like,
of them
I
has
was,
nothing to do with where the dog
I
is.
was thinking Friday. I'll write you a note. You'll skip school, and you and I will get in a car. We're gonna go on a road trip.
Oh my god.
To the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. We'll check it out. We'll meet some people, maybe
Yeah.
make some friends, see how cool they are. What do you think?
I even bought this hat that I can wear backwards.
Look, I turned my chair around the other way. Aren't I relatable?
What do you? I've got my sweater vest.
That I wore in high school.
Yep, you digging that? And he's like, no way. He's like, you just want to get rid of me because you don't look like looking at my ugly face.
He's like, that's
Well,
part
that
of
is
it.
true.
Well, I mean, come on. He's just like,
I don't
"Yeah."
want to look at it, but
Well, here's the thing. It's like Peter could just go, "Because I turn into a bug monster." Ben does what he's best at. He runs out of the room. And yeah, he just runs away. And while like Peter's thinking to himself like, "All right, great," he gets a call and he goes to pick up the phone, and his hand turns into like a terrible spider limb pincer thing, and so he can't pick up the phone, even though he still could
easily.
But he's just like, I'm changing. And
he does. He has a lot of opportunities to do something productive, and then doesn't because
and then
he's
he
changing.
just doesn't do it. And like it's Charles on the phone, and he's just like, hey, so I reviewed your son's application, and
Application? I'm turning into a horrible bug monster.
Hey,
The
hey,
end.
hey.
Let me in.
This is a school. We have standards.
Yeah.
What's his GPA?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. His GP. He's a 4.0, turning into a horrible bug monster.
yeah. What are his extracurriculars?
Jumping, wrestling.
Is he in any
Blood drawing?
school activities?
Does he volunteer?
I mean, he's very active in school. He's very recreational.
He gets his butt kicked every
Yeah,
day
exactly.
by the baseball team.
All right, we'll review this and we'll get back to you.
So, but he does, and he's just like, and you know, based on the data you've also accumulated, he's in.
Yeah.
And also, like, I know you're dying, because he's dying.
Yeah, because
he's-
turning into a monster also makes him die.
Yeah, Peter's like got a short lifespan. Well, he's a bug, I
Right.
guess. They have shorter lifespans. I don't know, but he's just like, so you should probably just bring him by like now,
Yeah.
like right now, like just bring him here
Yeah.
before it all
Like,
gets
just
real
duct
bad.
tape him.
Peter.
Yeah.
Peter, I know you're screening my calls.
Yeah.
Why aren't you picking up?
I know you're there.
I know.
I can hear you. That's amazing.
He should be on the phone. Oh, nope. It sounds like you're turning into a bug monster. Well, I'll just call back
I'll
later.
just turn you off and then come and get you. I'll send a flyer to come retrieve you.
Right? It's Banshee, though. It's gonna be Banshee.
Could you tone it down? I'm going deaf.
I have to scream at the position where I need to float. If I
can
scream
I-
this way, I'd go
Well,
backwards.
can I ride you then?
No, that is demeaning to me.
Wow, only I can ride you.
Just being in the front's really bad. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. So anyway, it turns out Ben went to the only place he thought he could go, which was Sarah Joy's house. Like, not Mary Jane.
Nope,
Sarah
Sarah Joy.
Joy's. And he like throws a rock at the window and like breaks it. He's just like, ooh, sorry. And she's like, hey. She's like, what's going on? What's the matter? He's just like, my dad's gonna send me away, which is like very much like a thing,
Straight
like a
up.
trope from
Yeah.
like this type of story. Like, he hates me. He thinks I'm a freak. And she's like, whoa, what?
Because she's
Okay.
totally going to be on the Xavier plan.
He
but,
thinks
like,
Yeah.
you're a freak. It's true,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have to send you away.
he's aware you're a freak. It's
Right, and then like Ben's like, I have to tell you something. It's my deep dark secret, and here it comes. Oh no, we've been interrupted by Butch Thompson, who's walking
just
around at
hanging
night
around.
in his Punisher t-shirt.
I love
which
that
I'm
he's
just
wearing
like,
a Punisher shirt.
Of course you are. And he's on a skateboard at night, and he's just like, I'm gonna run you down.
So you know he's up to no good.
He's cool too.
One of
Don't
those
forget
hoodlums.
that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm gonna beat you. And Sarah Joy's like, I have to get help. So she jumps on her bike and she rides away. And Butch is like, see, even your little girlfriend left. Haha, now I'm gonna beat you.
Now I'm going to beat you to death.
And like Ben's like had enough because now he's backed into a corner, and he's just like, okay, like he's aggressive now. He's just like, forget it, and he like just pushes him, and he pushes him down. Now don't forget that Ben has been beaten by this kid with baseball bats and fists every day, and he pushes him one time.
Yep.
And Butch is like, I'm gonna kill you.
He's just immediately in that zone.
Like,
So whenever they say stand up to your bully, he's like, definitely don't do that.
Just-
Because that might push them right over the edge.
he's just like, nope, it's over. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna beat you till there's nothing left. It's like,
You're like, whoa. That is straight up
That's
a
just,
real thing a person would say to someone.
okay.
How depressing.
Sure. So while like the beatdown of a lifetime is happening, like Peter's in his lab, he's just like, okay, I think I got it. I figured out this serum, and I think it's totally gonna work. But like this amount would kill any normal man, but I'm of course part spider, so it'd be totally fine for me. So I'm just gonna inject this in myself, and oh, the doorbell's ringing. Ben, get the doorbell.
Yeah.
Ben, okay, fine. I'm gonna stop everything I'm doing.
Yeah, this could save me and make me Spider-Man and maybe solve all our problems,
Well,
but
I
I
don't
will...
want to look like a junkie in front of whoever's calling, so.
But
Just,
like,
they're at the door. Just wait.
he goes to answer the door, and it's Sarah, and she's just like, you gotta come. Ben's getting his butt kicked. And Peter just loses it. Because he's like, I'm turning into a spider monster. It's just like, well, maybe if you...
I love, before that, he's like, Sarah, this really isn't a good time.
Yeah, it's just, you gotta stop.
And she's like, no, it's Ben, he's gonna die. And he's like, what, Ben, no.
Yeah, so he just runs off into like the foggy night.
As he's starting to transform into a horrible Spider-Man.
Right, it's just like, it's just a perfect storm. And Sarah's like, huh,
This explains a lot.
well, all right. So then we go to the Thompson residence.
So he married Black Cat?
Yeah. How would they even meet?
Maybe she didn't
They
become
were
Black
together
Cat.
during that comic. So during the
know.
time of this comic, they were together. But I don't know how they would meet without Peter. But whatever.
I also imagine she's still just wearing that suit.
She's like, I used to be something once until I married you. Go take out the trash.
Yeah.
So he takes out the trash. He's just like, what's the point of having kids if I gotta take out the trash? Where is Butch?
Yeah.
So like he calls for Butch, and he finds Butch webbed up in a tree,
mummified and like horrible.
Yeah, exsanguinated.
But still
Exsanguinated.
talking somehow.
Well, he's
Yeah.
not dead. It's just that he's horribly.
Exsanguinated means you've had the blood drained from
But
you.
it's like mostly.
Not all of
it's
it.
mostly gone.
Oh, it's mostly dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
If all dead,
Blade.
the only thing you could do was go through his pockets and look for loose change. But we're okay now. He's mostly exsanguinated. So anyway, he's just like, "Who did this to you, son? Tell me who did this." And he's like, "Parker." And he's just like, "Oh, Peter Parker."
Yeah. Oh, you stay there. I'll be right back.
So like, Flash calls the
I never
cops.
thought about that.
Right? He just leaves him there.
He's just like, "Hang on.
I'll call my rowdy friends.
Yeah, you're dead anyway." So he causes a mob. Like he literally calls a mob.
Yeah. Well, because like we're living in a world where apparently mutants are like public enemy number one, as
Yeah.
opposed to like when it's like, oh, you know, the X-Men, and you have like a couple of dissenters going like, ooh, I don't like the mutants.
Right.
This is like the Monsters on Maple Street kind of situation.
Right, but like literally they also, you see like newspaper articles throughout the book of like this scary like spider monster that's roaming the streets, and he's just like, clearly it's Parker. I mean, he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But he's wrong about which Parker
Right.
did this.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway, so these two cops find like this spider monster. They're like, "Hey, what's that? Oh, I think it's him. Hey, stop."
Naturally.
Because you're a
You
spider
better stop
monster,
now.
you know? And he's
Hey.
just like, I have to feed, leave me alone. And they're like, and then like
Larry,
this
cuff him.
gross red webbing shoots out of
Somewhere. We don't see, but we do see. I love that panel, by the way.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's just this like
It looks like a carnage tendril.
it
just
does
like, shoots
just
this dude
wraps
in the
into
face.
the guy's like nose, and like he can't breathe because
Yeah.
of it. And he's just like, you know, like he's just like, "I can't breathe." The other cop just starts firing, and like Spider Monster hops over the fence, and he's just like, "I gotta get out of here," having these thought bubbles, obviously, because he's a spider monster. So when he's a spider monster, he's just like, "Rah!" But inside, he's just like, "I've got to get out of here.
Yeah, I must leave.
I shouldn't be here anymore. I have to go somewhere where they'll never find me."
Yeah.
But where? And so then, like, you know, he ends up on, like, I guess a road somewhere, and the mob finds him, and, like, the cops are there, and he's just like, "Why would you leave me alone?" And it's very, like, kind of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And one of the cops goes, he's like, has this weird thought bubble, like, you know,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that seemed like a man, but like, it moved and sounded like a child.
Like a boy.
Which is like,
a kid. I'm
I'm
like-
sorry, how do you know what a child spider monster tastes like, or sounds like?
Well, I know.
Tastes like.
Tastes like. Looks
Well, that,
like.
that one of them knows.
Yeah.
Well, he moved like a boy, because he's spry. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, it's fair because they're making a good point, but it's also a spider creature.
Yeah, like how do you
the
just how do you,
dumbest thought
how do you
ever.
determine one over the other? But yeah,
Like,
I've never met a
you
large
don't even
one.
know what you're looking for.
No.
Like, you literally found a monster, and you're just like, "That's not what I thought it was going to be."
Yeah, that's a boy monster.
That's not an adult monster. I would know an adult monster if I saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, "I've read books.
Okay.
I took a class on monsters."
All right.
The
Martin.
training at that of the Force.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so the mob's like whole plan is to just like beat the monster to death, and then like out of nowhere, a bigger spider with a monster shows up with a tie on.
The time, that's how you can tell.
Because you're like, "That's Peter Parker." Don't worry,
He also has
everybody.
his glasses on.
He basically draws the mob away, and it's just like, you know, like, like, "Get off my son, leave him alone. If you want to see a real monster, I'll show you a real monster." And he starts like ripping
their ass.
into everybody, but they get the better of him, and they start beating him to death. And he's just like, "Just remember this, son. Remember, you're not alone. You never were."
As he's like being beaten to death, he's like, "Ben, I'll leave you with my final words."
"Ben, I should have told you this, I don't know, years ago. I'm a spider monster. If you start turning into a spider monster,
Call me.
let me know."
Yeah.
Son, there's a syringe at home. For the love of God, inject it into yourself.
No, I'll leave, take that with me to the grave.
Yep, nope, that's just for me.
But thankfully, Sarah Joy's also there, and she's like, "Farewell, Ben."
Yeah, he like
Cry.
runs off into the darkness. She's like, "Well, he's never gonna come back." And so Ben runs away, and he goes home real quick, and he grabs all of his dad's journals, and he packs them all up, and he gets on the bus. He's got his little baseball cap. He's like, and he's just like, "You know what? Like, I was wrong about my dad, and like my dad used to say about great power and great responsibility, and we do the whole thing, right?" And then he's just like, "Just because I was born with an extra chromosome doesn't mean that like I'm any less of a human being." And he goes to the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. It's like, you could have saved everyone. A lot of like issues if you
You could have saved the dog. You could have saved Thompson. You could have saved your dad. You could have saved yourself. Like, but instead. And by the way, it's in Salem, so it's the
Yeah.
other school. It's not even the one in Westchester.
No, they're like, "You can't go here."
No, you
you're
go
gross
to
looking.
you go to the one for Generation X.
You can hang with
Jubilee will be
Husk.
handing out. Yeah. Husk will be handing out your enrollment form.
Everyone's like, Husk is like, "I'm finally not the grossest member of the team."
No, Husk.
No.
That's still gross.
Do you shed an epidermis?
Do you use
Ben?
it to like
No.
put things in
Yeah.
and strap it to your back? Like in my head, that's what she does. Like a backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, "Okay, let me just wrap that up."
This is my skin sack.
Yeah.
Oh, good term. So yeah, there you have it. The dystopian Spider-Man What If comics. The question is, which one's the good, which one's the bad, and which one's the ugly? Woof. So all right, let's vote for the good. I gotta tell you, like, it's gonna be one or the other. Like, the best one, I think, the best made comic, I think, is this one.
I was
think
going to
it's
say this one
Arachnomorphosis.
too. Even though I gave this a really hard time, it takes you so far out of what is normal for Spider-Man and creates this very different world for him that adheres to its own rules.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what it is.
I think it's just, I remember hating it as a kid because it was so on the other side, and I
yeah.
was like so offended by it. I like when they get the does the dog die.com, like they kill the dog. I'm like, oh, you lost me. But like thinking about it, looking back, I think the art's the best. I think it looks really good. I think it like evokes the same themes that it's trying to. It does what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Even if I don't necessarily want to go there ever again.
Yeah.
By the way, hey, Spider-Geddon, where's this Spider-Man? I know he's beaten to death, but like, you know.
But his son could be there.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah.
Where's that one? He should be joining the league with.
They're just like,
oh, that would be great. That's a great idea.
that is a lot of look.
We kicked him back into Spider-Verse. He's
Yes.
not
The more lunatics got him.
No, they were like, ew. Ew.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like Morlan's like, I'll feed. Oh, you are gross.
He's like, I'll feed on you.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay, that's how they end it, and that's how Morlan dies. That's perfect.
Yeah. Little Ben trained by Xavier.
Yeah.
The only reason I vote for this is because I had a happier time reading it.
Right.
I liked the idea that he teams up with Felicia because they're both superpowered.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, she's not really.
No, but like she's a
But,
little bit. She got powers.
But they fight crime together.
Yeah, I dig that. I think
That
that's
was
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
And like, it's very real
Right. In the context of the comic.
in the context of the comic.
Just
like,
like-
she rubs it in Mary Jane's face, and Mary Jane's distraught, and
Yeah.
Peter's just a jerk.
Well, I was
Exactly.
gonna say, just like I'm biased because this is horror, I know why you're biased to that one.
This is Black Cat. I'm a Black Cat fan. But yeah,
gonna lie.
I do dig
But-
this issue.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, just because it goes so many places I was not expecting.
Yeah, you did not know, even though you knew exactly what was going to. This is just Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to just be pretty much a horror comic.
Right, just straight up.
A straight up horror comic.
Yeah.
Where where people are dying, where like they're monsters,
Mm-hmm.
where like they make the classic monster mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, like practically 10 issues later, they debut Mayday Parker in this very book. So it's like they go, okay, well, you know what? Maybe the horror angle's not the way to go. Let's just do classic What If again.
All right, fine.
All right, different kid.
Yeah. New kid, happy and not a monster.
Also, if you want, you can get some Chef Boyardee Spider-Man pasta with meatballs.
So hot, it's practically radioactive. I remember those commercials. I guess defaulting the bad.
Yeah, it's not really bad.
It's not really that bad.
It's not really bad.
But I think Spider-Man's family is definitely the ugly.
Woof.
This was rough.
That just destroys, like, hey, Spider-Man, how about you act nothing like yourself?
Right.
Just.
Well, just like, what if we had like this one, like the marriage is broken up in the first 2 seconds, but it kind of like feels earned. This one, like, okay, they destroy his family, like right now, and then
Yeah.
it's basically one fight,
Yeah.
but spread out over 2 days.
Yeah.
The Avengers act like complete morons, which is kind of in keeping with them at this time, but like.
And Spider-Man does too.
Spider-Man acts like a moron. The parents succeed by accident practically because everyone around them is just so incompetent they can't pull it together.
Also, it has one of these.
Oh yeah, you got
gotta
to
turn
turn
it
it
on,
sideways, and then
Fix it.
and the reveal sucks.
Right? I also love that Reed Richards isn't here, who'd be
Oh.
like, hold on.
Yeah. By the way, 3 of the 4 Fantastic Four are there, but not Reed because he's the only one who would know. Nope.
In the art.
Oh, horrific.
Oh.
There are 4 different artists. They're all terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to.
I don't like this style of art.
No,
I'm not a huge fan of the
it's
old
good.
school.
Oh, I dig
It's
it.
still so much better.
Oh,
Yeah.
Better than Yarvinen
No, I
and
thought
Wildman.
That was the best.
I thought this was really good because it fit really well with the tone of the
Totally.
story.
No, this is one of those things where you can imagine, because it's a What If book, they're like, we're publishing it anyway, who gives a crap?
Yeah.
Just give whoever, put whoever on it, doesn't matter.
Sure,
but
make
this
it a
is
horror
like,
book,
no,
but
make,
like, never design houses.
yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But no, it's like,
Let's-
make it a horror
They're
book.
whimsical.
It's
like
this is
Tim Burton.
Straight up a Tim Burton student film, by the way. But like, yeah, but you could tell, like, they really, like, they were like, make it look like a horror book. Like,
Yeah.
match the artist with the writer and make it work.
Don't go into that house. That house is death house.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
You don't want to die in there.
you're gonna get exsanguinated if you go over there.
Or at least partially exsanguinated.
Nobody's really sure.
No, but yeah, this is the worst. The best thing about this issue, however, is that there is a sample of the trading cards that were drawn by Mark Bagley of the Spider-Man era, like Spider-Man series. So you get these swell little cards in there.
You can't vote for it because of that, though.
Yeah, no, it's true. But yeah.
It's not really part of the comic.
But you can fill this out.
You get Kraven and Spider-Man and the Chameleon.
Yeah. Who all appear in all of these books. Yeah. There. Who all appear in all these books, which is great.
So take it
It's
again.
okay, we're gonna edit that out.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Nope.
Can't do it still.
No, he can.
I can, but I
Can.
won't.
He just can't edit it from their minds.
I'm brave. I won't do it. Yeah, they'll have seen it, and that's the end of it. The channel's over. But
Oh God, you all know the terrible truth.
but yeah, I'm a klutz. So the question is, okay, so this is the ugly. Is it fodder for the wrong box? Does it belong there? Is it so terrible? Is it as bad as Curse of the Spawn? Is it as bad as Rob Liefeld's Captain America #1?
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty freaking terrible.
It's not that bad though.
I would never read this again.
Okay, here would be my reasoning. It misses the mark on who Spider-Man is. It doesn't bother to even like break him down. It just it's like, no, he just snapped for no reason.
And you could tell like no one cared.
And it's just like, but it's like, how many people have died in his life?
Right.
And it's just like, now he's just like, I can't handle this anymore.
I mean, I can imagine it losing Aunt May and Mary Jane in one fell swoop from your monster parents would probably make you crack.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just, it's very flimsy. There's no character explanation. And I expect better of Kurt Busiek.
Yeah, it's kind
Dude
of...
wrote, what was it? The Untold Tales of Spider-Man. He gets Spider-Man, and not this book.
When he kills the chameleon, he's just like, well, no going back now. And I'm like...
It's like he was looking for an excuse.
Oh
like,
no, it's Batman. If I kill one, I'm gonna kill everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, no going back now. I killed Chameleon. Now I can kill everybody.
I'm just going to suffocate people in their sleep with webs now.
By the way, he doesn't go back. He doesn't kill anybody.
I mean, he kills the chameleon.
He kills the chameleon. There's no going back now, and then he never kills anybody. He just accidentally kills the parents. And they're like, "Naha, to die," and they just stab themselves on like scaffolding. It sucks. So let's ask the audience. What do you guys think? Wrong box?
Well, it's got Bagley Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, but only in the cards.
You can't vote on the cards.
You can't use the cards.
All right, wait. Show of hands for wrong box.
For wrong box.
Yeah, what was it?
If they're like robot animatronic things, when they die on the spikes, how come no one knows that, like, you know?
That's just it. They stay in their form. And
and then they turn off. Like their biofunctions shut down. They say in the narration, like they're
says,
frozen
like,
as their dead original forms.
He's like, Reed Richards could easily tell that they're robots, but I'm not even gonna bother.
But I won't bother because I'm sad. So yeah. Is it? It is boring. I mean, like, it's not that boring. Like, it's kind of fun. You're like, what?
He freaks out.
Everything about it, you're like, what? Especially the art, which is really weird.
He punches Robbie. Now, it is misery, but did it, like, suck out your will to live?
Yeah, not really.
The end of it kind of did for me. I was like, what?
Everything about it really sucks.
And I'm a villain in the shadows.
Yeah, that's also stupid. They were trying to like strike while
they were
trying to strike while the iron's hot on this like weird premise of like, oh, remember Spider-Man Pursuit, like the thing that's coming out right now? Like, no, just wait for the damn book to come out.
Both of these have that like guy in the shadows who's like,
yeah.
wait until next time.
Yeah, they haven't given me context for who we are.
Spider monster in the shadows.
Yeah,
but we got to find out who it was.
So the real theme is lurking in the shadows. Well, I don't know. I don't think we've got enough.
No, there's not majority. It has to be majority.
It has to be a majority, and that's how it works here on
It'll
the
be in the
channel.
wrong box of my heart.
That's true. Yeah, I will hate
I feel
it
like
forever.
that has to be a song.
The wrong box of my heart.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Work
All
on
you
that.
country music fans out there, work on it. But
No, like Total Eclipse of the Heart.
oh, okay. Make it a power
That's
ballad.
what I'm hearing
I'll
now,
hold
yeah.
this one up so that like everyone at home knows this is the winner.
This is the winner, and
is
it's
it.
pretty good. You should check it out.
Yeah, it actually is.
But we'll see you guys next time on another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I want to thank everybody for watching, everybody for coming here. And we'll see you next week with another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks for watching.